Bright suns and rising moons, fellow droids. Welcome to another episode of Not the Droids podcast. I'm Mayuri,
And I'm Danny.
and today we're going through episode 9 of Andor season 1, titled Nobody's Listening. There's an exclamation point on it, so I could be like, when did it release?
This released on November 2nd, 2022, and at this point, we have 3 episodes left.
I know, I'm kind of getting excited because this episode was like kind of
I
like
didn't take
I
a lot of notes in the sense that I just kind of marked what was happening, but I was so
yeah.
focused on the episode that I was just like, this is when this happens, just as the lineup.
So I was like working and watching it on my iPad, and I think I stopped for almost the entire episode. I was like, what? The whole time. The
Yes.
whole time I was like, what? But it was so sad that we started with Bix
We start with Bix
because
and Deidre, whatever her name is.
I think it's Dedra.
Dedra.
Miro, I guess is her last name. But the thing that they're using for torture, so I was listening on headphones. And I
Hmm.
gotta say, if you're listening to this episode on headphones, turn it down for the beginning. It was horrifying how loud Vix was screaming. But we find out that they did hunt down the guy from the
Pack.
pack because of the radio signal.
Yes.
Um
And
and
he
he
held out.
unless until they tortured him. But you get a bit of information about him. He is a rebel, kind of, in that they are paying him to keep that radio line
Yeah.
open. And I thought that was interesting because it was just like, huh. So they do pay some people when they need something.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but he held out, which good for him. I mean, nobody could hold out to the point that they tortured them.
Yeah.
But I just was like, that's why he looked like that. Because Bix looked like that at the end. But I'm terrified to get a shot of the square at any point because they're going to hang him up.
We're very Hunger Games over here.
Yeah. But at least they're keeping Bix alive. And I am manifesting in the next episode that Marva hooks up with what's her face that's just waiting for Andor because she tags her as someone who's probably part of the
Yeah.
rebellion to be like, "Hey, we I found a way into the hotel through the old tunnels and we could go get Bix. Like
I
we
feel
can
like
get
that's
her back."
asking a lot of Marva and Cinta.
Listen,
There's
a bit,
there
but
has to be some
maybe
other players in there
no,
because
it's gonna be the friend, the Wreck-It Ralph guy. I don't know what his name is. You know who I'm talking
you know
about.
who you're talking about.
But I think that maybe a few people will go
Hmm.
to get Bix once they see like that guy hanging in the square
Yeah.
and assume that Bix is next.
Yes.
This is where it's like they're all doing their thing, and you get a glimpse of Andor doing his thing,
Yes.
which is trying to figure out how to escape. Him and another prisoner in their room are clocking what is, I'm going to say, electrified and what is not,
Yes.
right? Because they're looking at when are the guards wearing
We're not even
boots.
there yet.
Yeah, we are.
No, that happens a little later on. This one is when they're moving all the things and he does the switch.
Yeah, they switch and then he goes to go to the bathroom.
Not yet, because we jump back to Bix before he goes to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It was like
Okay, we
these
don't have
quick
to
jumps.
argue.
No, I
It
no,
was
this is why I took notes because there's so much jumping. So the only that we see Cassian is in the prison, and then Olaf is struggling, so he's like, "Well, switch," and then
so he can
Gollum comes
help.
over
I
and was
listen,
like,
you're
"Whose
saying
idea was
Gollum,
this?" And
and I'm saying Andy Serkis.
that's
Like, I can't
fine.
stop seeing Andy Serkis.
Yeah. Pinto, I don't have the notes up from yesterday that had his name in it. And it's like, oh, whose idea was this? And Cassian gives it to the other guy, and the guy's like, what? And he's like, great idea. And then we jump back to Bix where they're talking about hanging him. And then we jump back. This is why I have to take notes on Andor, because there's so many like this, um, where Cassian's going into the bathroom. We realize he has now been talking to this other guy, and then there's a new man coming on the floor today. And he's like in the
Yeah,
bathroom sawing things.
it's funny because you and I are going to agree to disagree on where they jump back and forth, but that's fine. But yes, they are working on a plan to figure out how feasible it is to escape and where are the safe zones. So if they try and escape, where can they
Mhm.
stand or where can they
And that the
be?
railing is not electrified. And
They said
Cassian,
the
yeah.
elevator is not electrified. So it's
And
like
Cassian
they're
sees things and is like, I have a new plan.
yeah. Well, so here's the thing is like he's trying to get the room leader. His name is Jam no. I don't know who what his name is. Andy Serkis's character. And
Isn't it
he like when they're
Pinto or
going back
something?
and he's just very much like just do your job and you'll get out. Like I have less than a year left. I don't want any trouble. I'm just looking for the finish line. I want to get out. So don't cause any problems. And you see kind of his belief that he will get out of the prison slowly disintegrate as
Loy. I was adding extra letters.
Loy.
Loy.
You see that kind of hope die
Yes.
throughout the episode, which is so sad. But like the thing that gets me is that obviously I noticed the hand gestures this episode. Um there where they were like something happened on floor two. And it's just funny because I didn't think about like if something happened on floor two, someone on floor two and three, one and three probably saw it and then it got around and then it has to work its way up to five, right?
Mhm.
And so where he was just like it probably is just a rumor, like shut up. And then like Cassian is pressing him
How
in
many
their
guards?
like cubbies that night and he's just like good luck to you. And that's where we get the title of the episode, right? Where Cassian's screaming like they're not actually listening to us. They're
Yeah.
using fear to control us, but
Yes.
there's no like there's no microphones. They're not listening to us.
Do you recall in our first prison episode, was it Kino was it 249 days left?
Yeah, so
And now
that
he's at
was
217. So this is literally a day past the last episode because we
yeah,
knew he
it's
was,
right after.
yeah, he's within a day or two because I think it was they were 31 days in, 31
Yeah.
shifts in, and now he's only at 32 shifts doing math. So this is like so he's made some bonds in a very quick time, or someone didn't check their math when they were saying how many shifts are left.
No, I think they wanted to show that it was routine and he was getting into it, but this episode is showing that even though he's doing the routine
He's
and
plotting.
he's
Told you he was
been
up to
plotting.
something. I knew he was up to
I think he has been plotting and finding sympathetic people in their cohort to see like like
something.
who can help observe, right? Because they're what sawing through that thing in the bathroom, and I
Yeah.
think it's the power coupling that maybe controls the electrification of the floor. I wonder if that's what they're trying to just like cut into and
Or get
disable.
access to something that they need that.
Yeah.
Well, then
So
we do another jump.
yes.
Senator Chandrilla.
Yeah.
And
So Val,
we found her rich
rich
family.
girl,
We've known her all along.
they're cousins.
This
Is that
family
right?
is a family of rebels, man.
Yeah,
This
well,
is and this
not the
support
whole family.
not the whole family, but this supports my I do believe that the daughter is a rebel without her she knowing her family is a rebel.
Yeah, I bet you. Not the husband. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I like how they both like we've made a pledge and all that stuff. But seeing Val in this kind of form is
Yeah.
but like she's still very much a rebel to me even here. And I like that like all of this whole section shows her backstory and like Ma I'm worried about Mothma, but I think it also shows the commitment differences because Val is she hasn't seen her in 6 months. She won't admit to what she's doing. And in fact, when her cousin references Luthen, Val sticks to that line. Who are you talking about? Who is he? Because she's like, he doesn't exist. So I'm wondering how deep into this network is Luthen that he is being protected so that people don't know who he is. Right? So, and I think these two are probably the towers that if they crumble, like his identity is shot,
Yes.
right? Like his cover is blown, if these two get caught. Um, but I don't know. I thought it was sweet how close Belle is with her daughter. And she like
Hmm.
bought her presents and stuff.
Yes.
I do like at the end where she was just like, I need like, why don't you play the poor like the shallow rich girl for a while to
Yeah.
remind people that that's what you're doing instead of just like disappearing when there's tons of rebel activity. Just think that you're just going off to like a pleasure planet or
Yeah.
something
Play
like
the part.
that.
Have some fun.
Gotta, yeah, but yeah. No, and then we're back to ISB. Um,
We're making connections.
yeah, finally they're like doing the thing, right?
They're
Like
like,
they're
he's clean shaven now? Well,
critical thinking finally.
the rebels on Aldani were clean shaven. There's a note about it.
Well, but they're just like he came around, well, because they got the information from Bix, right?
Yeah.
Like that's it's sad how they got the information, but they got the information they needed to show that like Cassian came, he had money in his pocket and he
Hmm.
was clean shaven when he's never clean shaven, right? So to them, they're just like that has to be the reason. How why else would those two things be like noticeable?
Yeah.
Um but yeah, so the one part that was creepy was Cyril. His mom is creepy. I don't love her. Mrs. Fig, whatever is happening
Neural
with the
got
mom.
very stalker obsession vibes.
Well, he got a promotion, and honestly, he should have just been like happy with that.
Yeah.
I love how his mom is like, your uncle's gonna be so happy. I wonder if we're ever gonna meet this uncle.
You don't know.
But it's just like whatever. But the fact that he's stalking her so that he can thank her, and she's like, I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. Just like leave us alone.
Yeah.
This is nothing to do with you anymore. And I don't know. I don't know where that's gonna go. It's very it's very weird. Cyril should just like count his lucky stars and just move on. But obviously,
Like,
he can't.
I'm if he wants to follow the leads, I'm fine with him following his leads. But coming off as creepy, obsessed stalker, like, I mean,
She was kind of distraught. She's like, "Are you stalking me?" Like,
like I couldn't. I'm like, is Cyril like flirting with her and being
I was getting those vibes that
like I
he was
had like
like
this weird vibe. I'm like,
attracted to
what are
her.
you saying right now? I don't like it.
I didn't know if he was gonna ask her out on like a date at the end of that
I
because it
know,
was like
right? It
he
that
was
it,
giving those
he was
vibes.
giving red flags.
Yeah.
Um,
Ugh.
all right, and now we come to
We're back to the senator.
we're back to the senator. You can fill that in because I didn't make that note because I have like the next thing I have is other prison, which Is a
No,
lot.
well, this is where they talk about the financial thing, right? Like
Oh,
where he's like,
yes.
could have done better to hide the fact that you
It was
were
talking about math. I kind of was like, okay, I get it. You need to
squirreling
hide some
away
money.
money.
Her accounts
But
are going to be
she,
looked at because of this new tax law.
yeah, so I'm just wondering, this scene was very much to set up this Davos Skolden person,
Yes, we are going to
who's
meet this
clearly,
kingpin. He sounds
yeah,
like a
he's clearly like a
kingpin.
gangster
Yeah.
on Chandra or whatever.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's just like like she's so her sensibilities are so offended to
Mhm.
do business with him, and I wonder if he thinks that he's buying a senator now, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so it's I can understand why she has to do it, and there's no other way for her to hide that 400,000 credits, which was very stupid to take out all at once. Unless it's like,
I don't know that was it taken out all at once or like it feels like there was like something past where now like accounts are going to be
well,
scanned
so
and it's missing money that can't be accounted for and I'm like I'm not sure it came out all at once or if it was like incremental but it's enough for them to like be like red
where did it
flag.
go?
Yeah, we're like this isn't accounted for. We don't see the money here. You haven't gone on like a fancy vacation. You haven't like invested in something like so there's no anywhere.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. But do you have it down that we came back to the ISB and everybody's critical thinking skills are finally working?
Things are
Um,
clicking.
well, so like they caught a rebel pirate
Mhm.
pilot by accident, right? So like they weren't even intending it. He just caught by a checkpoint.
Mhm.
Um, and I am worried about what that effect is going to be and who is supposed to be his contact on the other side,
And
right?
do we
Like, do
know
we
this
know?
pilot?
Yeah, that's why like they didn't say the name. They didn't show a picture, like flash to it or anything.
We
So
have
I'm
no
like,
reference of who this pilot is.
yeah, I wonder if we've seen them before. And so when they flash back, but there it's very clear they're just gonna kill the pilot.
Yes. Oh
Um,
yeah, they're like figuring out how to like cover up the killing of the pilot to make it look like it was a mechanical issue.
yeah, so
And
that's
then
why I'm
float
just
it
like,
out into traffic so someone else finds it.
I mean, it's a good idea. Here's the thing. They're the evil people in the show, but they're finally doing a good job at their job,
Mhm.
right? Is it
My
ruthless? Yeah.
I question their reach if they feel the need to like have to cover up and they can't just be like something illegal is happening. Like they're covering up. So something's like up that they need to hide what they're doing.
Well, so I think this is like they do a flash of the senator, I think before
Mhm.
at the Senate trying
Yes.
to like muster up support against this measure by the
The,
Empire, right?
I struggled through that scene. Nobody
It
cared and
was
I was just like
nobody cared and it was sad. But
this
that's the thing is it's like I
this imitates
wonder,
real life and I don't like it.
I know, especially this week. Um, I wonder if that's part of it, right? Like they're not really caring if they are doing something that's bad, but they don't want it to be so obvious to
Yeah.
the rebels that it was them. And if someone else is gonna like catch on that they're doing like they're just killing
Yeah.
people for no reason.
Yes.
So, but I think they're very much just trying to think the rebels don't know that they know that this ship is going to them.
Or that this
Um,
information has been intersected, so they don't want
yeah.
maybe, and that's probably what it is. It's more so they don't want the rebels to know that they also have the
Well, because they're
information.
trying to catch more, they're still trying to get back to
Yeah.
Luthen, right? So
Yeah.
they're finally following the
It
network.
was Axis, is that what she called him?
Yeah, they're calling him Axis. But that's where it's just like it sucks because they tortured Bix for the information of what was stolen.
Yep.
And so now they can track in their system what is missing and what they're finding.
Yep.
Right. So when they're searching and they're like, oh, these two are the same. So they must have got this from the rebels.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so that's where it's just like I'm curious to see how that play works out and who they're gonna catch on the other side. Um, I'm wondering if the person on the other side is someone that we know. But yeah, but then like we come back to the prison.
Poor Olaf.
Poor Olaf. I mean, you could tell they're kind of showing that he's declining. And I
Yes.
kind of saw that the
And
writing
they
was
set this
on the
up from the
wall,
beginning. They set it up from the beginning.
that he was having problems with his memory, they even set it up in the last episode where his hand was like
Yep,
locking up
yep,
and stuff like
weakness.
that. So that's where it's just like, but I didn't expect for him to just like full on have a stroke and die. Like he didn't die naturally, but he might as well have.
He,
Um, but this is the vehicle that one we find out that the doctor is also a prisoner.
yes.
And the way that he's like, I can't help any of you, so at least this is the nicest way for him to die and
Especially
get out
after
of
this
here.
week. Like he specifically says. So
That
then
information,
the
sorry
big
for going.
information we find out is that no one actually gets out. So they are counting down to be moved to another floor. And what happened on level two is that someone that was released from another level was moved to two and they figured it out. And it caused a
They
riot.
all
So then they just offed the entire floor.
they just killed the entire. I don't think they killed the entire floor. I feel like they killed the entire tunnel, so that whole room
Yeah.
of
Well, yeah,
people.
not the whole floor, but like the whole group. But like, because Kino said he's in charge of 50 people.
Yeah, it's that room.
So it's that one tunnel, which is 50 people.
Yeah, so that's where it's just like they realize that they're just moving people around and not releasing anybody. And that's where you see
That was
Kino be
turns
like,
Kino.
okay, fine. Okay, fine.
He's like,
Let's
no more
all
than
do this.
12. He's like, I've been counting down and they're just gonna move me to another floor.
Yeah,
Nobody gets out.
which is sad. So now for Cassian to get out, he has to escape.
It has to be
So
an escape.
if it's only 12 per floor, that
I don't know that it's 12 per floor.
it's 12 that he's counted.
So like, cause honestly, when you see them, they're only in like groups of two. Because you could technically, because of how things are controlled and seen, you don't have to have 12 per floor. Because it's just people dropping people off essentially and calling the medic. And like even with the medic, they only brought one. So it could be
Yeah.
12 for the entire prison system because of how it is
Yeah,
run
but
and how it is separated.
the thing with the floor is what's going to get them. They have to figure out how to disable it.
Yes.
So I think the next episode is really going to be them plotting their escape.
Hmm.
I think Bix is going to get rescued. Um and we're going to meet that gangster.
Yes. I am cheating and looking at the name of the next episode.
Of course you are.